And it's budget time across Arizona. We'll get to the state budget in a bit. First, Maricopa County quietly approved an almost $4 billion budget for the coming 12 months. There were no threats of a government shutdown there, but a lot is going on behind the scenes now that the budget is done. Joining us, Maricopa County Board Chairman Thomas Galvin. Welcome back to Square Off.
Great.
Your first budget as board chair?
First budget as board chair, fourth budget I've been on as a county supervisor. I voted for an overall tax cut in every single budget.
I know you're proud of this budget, like a new child. Give us the top three highlights.
Yeah, well, we are good stewards of Maricopa County's taxpayer dollars, but also this budget is the second largest budget in the state after the state budget, which is signed by the governor. But in this budget, we are cutting the overall tax rate. What I'm saying is ensuring prosperity, but securing safety, which is including 10 to 15% pay increases for sheriff deputies. This is the largest pay increase for law enforcement officials in 15 years, but also we're investing in projects like a new state-of-the-art elections building and projects for our parks throughout the county. So it's something for everyone.
Talk about the tax rate. Going down slightly, but does that translate into lower tax bills?
Well, it doesn't translate to lower tax bills, but the fact of us lowering the tax rate shows that we're able to do a lot with less. And because my one philosophy is don't spend more than you can take in, it's a balanced budget. We have plenty in reserve, but the fact that we've been cutting the overall tax rate for 5 years is indicative that Maricopa County is in great financial health, and also we're looking out for taxpayers.
And on the tax rate, you and other governments benefit from the fact that property values just keep going up.
Property values are going up, but also our obligations are going up. Straight out of the chute, 20% of Maricopa County's budget is mandated by the state, including for public health and other necessary obligations. So that's 20% of our budget that we cannot even touch. So when we look at all the other things that we have to spend money on, we have to be careful with our dollars. But I'm really proud of the fact that we're able to do that balancing act and do it really well without controversy.
Talk about the public safety piece. Big raises, significant raises for sheriff's deputies, detention officers. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have on recruiting, which has been a challenge?
It has been a challenge, and we've worked really closely with our new sheriff, Jerry Sheridan, who's absolutely terrific and amazing. But when I became chairman in January, this is the biggest plank of my speech and what I outlined, is that I believe we need to take care of the people that are taking care of us. Every single day, people in the sheriff's office are putting their lives on the line, going out there and not complaining about it. But what I have seen is that they deserve to be financially compensated, especially since you've talked about with inflation, with this economic period that we're in, they're suffering. These are people who have to put food on the table for their families. So we're providing raises for the sheriff deputies, for our emergency dispatchers, and giving significant bonuses to our detention officers, which is the bulk of the sheriff's department.
You've talked about also somehow getting out from under the burden of Joe Arpaio and the court-ordered monitor and how much the county has had to pay for that over the years, what, $350 million and counting. Have you made any progress in somehow ending the county monitor oversight?
Yes, we're making significant progress, and I want to highlight Chris Clark, who represents the Deputies Association. He's been a great partner in this, and what we did this year was hire a constitutional law expert who's taking a look at this. This has not been done in Maricopa County ever since this lawsuit was filed back in the George W. Bush administration, and what I have done as chairman is to work with this constitutional law expert to see how we can take a look at it, not from the perspective of the sheriff's office, but from the Board of Supervisors, because we control the purse strings for the sheriff's department, but we're the ones responsible for the taxpayers' dollars. And I think it's incumbent upon me to be fighting out there for everyone watching today and their tax dollars and making sure we're spending it wisely, because we're going to have to spend $30 million this year, 16th year going into it. We got to find a way to end it.
So you think this legal analysis could lead to a perhaps lawsuit?
I think it could, yeah, and that's what we're taking a look at right now. And I think this is a novel concept that could be gaining nationwide attention if we're able to go through with it.
Interesting. Still challenges ahead. The county board and county recorder Justin Heap are now suing each other over your respective roles in running the elections. Why should voters have confidence, given this? The two most prominent players in elections are at each other. Why should voters have confidence future elections will come off without a hitch?
Well, voters should have confidence that elections are going to be going off without a hitch, because that is what has happened in previous cycles, especially last year. Maricopa County oversaw 3 successful elections: the presidential primary, the state primary, and the general election. However, they should have concerns about a recorder who's putting personal interests above the interests of the voters. And this is an issue that all 5 of us at the Board of Supervisors have concerns with. We need an operating agreement because the law in many ways is ambiguous. It's state law. We don't write the law. We thought we had a deal with the recorder. He verbally accepted the deal that we had with him to revise the shared services agreement, but then he backed out on the deal. And then he tried to make noise. He tried to do different things. Now he's trying to sue us. But then just on Thursday, we saw that there's a report that his office erroneously sent out 83,000 letters to voters telling them that they're going to be kicked off the voter rolls. Unfortunately, we're in the middle of a congressional race right now, which is of paramount concern to me, but also the fact that any voter would be receiving an erroneous letter informing them being kicked off their voter rolls is problematic. I think the recorder should just go back to focusing on his job and not trying to get headlines.
But you just made the point there. There's an election coming up in mid-July, congressional special election. Why should voters have faith that's going to come off okay, especially after Justin Heap issued some kind of warning, which I honestly can't decipher, about absentee ballot problems?
Yeah, I don't get it either. Whether that merits an investigation on the part of the county board, that's something we're going to have to take a look into. This news just broke on Thursday. I take all these things very serious. I think it's a problem. There's been a series of mishaps from the recorder's office. Once again, he just hasn't kept his eye on the ball. He needs just to focus on his job. His job is voter registration and sending out early ballot envelopes. The Board of Supervisors is responsible for elections and votes to canvass the election. This is how the state law writes how elections are conducted. He just needs to focus on the basics.
Let's talk baseball. Governor Hobbs is expected to sign legislation that creates a new $1.2 billion revenue stream to renovate Chase Field. That law would take effect in 90 days. There's still a lot of unfinished business. You guys own the stadium. You have to come up with a lease agreement with the D-backs, don't you?
And Chase Field is not just baseball. Baseball has only played 81 dates out of the year. At the other 270 days out of the year, there's different events like Monster Jam, Cactus Bowl, concerts, Billy Joel, Kenny Chesney. However, the county doesn't own the stadium. It's owned by a taxing entity called the Stadium District. It's just that the County Board of Supervisors happen to serve on the board of that. We can't charge rent to the stadium, anything like that. But now with this new period that we're in, we're still the board of directors for Chase Field. I like to see what we can do with the D-backs to tee it up as we make sure that we're moving forward for this public asset.
Well, you need a lease agreement with them. What would that look like?
Well, we're going to have to figure that out, right? But at least to me, terms of how many years you're going to be in there and all the other particulars that go into leasing what is an income-producing asset. This is a fantastic building, but also it's an investment in downtown Phoenix.
More than the $2 million a year they're currently paying?
We'll see, but it's a blank canvas right now. But we're really optimistic we're going to work well with the D-backs. I worked really well with their team negotiator, and I think we're going to be okay.
And they want to have shovels in the ground at the stadium when the season ends in October.
Yeah, as they should.
Is that going to happen given when the law takes effect? And
well, I appreciate that they want to get started as soon as possible because this is a building that needs remediation and needs help, so we'll see what we can do.
All right, got to end it there. Maricopa County Board Chair Tom Galvin, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.